Finally free. My wife left me while pregnant with my child and got engaged to some guy while still being married to me. It was all over the internet, her kissing the guy and stuff, pictures of him playing with my kid. I mean, this stuff cut me to the core because I never got to spend any time with my kid. I was furious for 4 years. I ballooned up to 325. I lost my job also, and I just struggled hard. I was broke paying lawyer fees. Rarely seeing my child like it was a mess. I can remember one day I was just sobbing in my driveway by myself. I asked God to KLL me, too much a coward to do it myself. I was stuck in despair, but after we got divorced, I prayed to God and understood why. And God was there through it all, even though I couldn't see him, and frankly, I was blaming him for the whole thing. On January 2nd I repented and became truly born again, and man, it feels so much better. I actually have joy. And the best part about it is it's not connected to this world or my kid or my wife or money, because all that was taken from me. I found joy when I had absolutely nothing, and it can't be taken away from me. I found solace in the scriptures. All that other stuff is just extra. I don't care if I ever get another wife. I know how easily you could lose it all, and if that's your whole life, you'll be like me, stuck in despair. But by the grace of God, he melted me and I repented. I realized my errors were because I was blind. I didn't know what I was doing. But Jesus paved a way for us and had pity on us through his sacrifice if we but believe. And once you believe, it's sealed up forever. All you have to do is say your sins didn't profit you and hand them to Jesus on the cross, and he takes them and bears them for you. And you become a new creature. And it's that simple. You don't have to fall out, scream, or speak in tongues. You don't even have to do good deeds to maintain it. It's repent once, believe, and you are done. After that, I lost weight. It just evaporated off of me. I had energy suddenly. It was like a part of my soul came back when that judge divorced us. Everyone began commenting about how I looked. I mean, everyone who knew me. Everyone's complimenting me, saying I look good and muscular. My father told me that I'm looking taller. My hair seemed to come back. It was thinning out. I clean my house, dress up, wear cologne, buy nice clothes. I actually finish projects. And I stopped blaming myself, stop internalizing why she left. I just figured she is lost and needs Jesus. And I don't have to put that on me. I don't have to punish myself for her crimes. I did make mistakes, but she is at fault, not me. The last 4 years were a mess, and I am finally free. I didn't date or have time that whole 4 years. I started a business right after the divorce, and it's finally profitable. It's making me a lot of money finally. I also got a sweet steal of a deal on a sports car. Like, such a sweet deal you wouldn't believe it. Now I'm customizing it. Putting red leather upholstery inside, buying rims, painting the calipers. The last 4 years I took L after L, but I hung in there. I had stopped believing in God. I had no money, rarely saw my kid, and was frankly miserable. But after the divorce was over, I didn't blame God anymore. I hate it happened to me, but I built some serious mental strength, fortitude, self-confidence, and self-worth. I became a man. I realized I was toxic for even being with her. When I was a kid, my pastor used to preach about watching a caterpillar escape its cocoon. He used to say it is a pitiful thing to watch, but how if you help the caterpillar, it would never fly. The struggle builds the muscle it needs to fly. Without that struggle, it could never fly. I am out the cocoon, just waiting for my wings to dry off so I can take flight. I looked in the mirror the other day and didn't even recognize myself. I looked healthy and fit. I was 325 at my heaviest, and I was smoking. I quit smoking and I shrunk down to 240. With zero effort, the weight just left all by itself. I lost my gut. I have a 6-pack coming in. I'm cooking again. I used to love to hit the gym and push out 20 pull-ups. I didn't for 4 years now. I can only do 10, but I'm getting there. So hang in there. Redditor's reaction story 2 after. Redditor 1, sounds like you are ready for the world, but is the world ready for you? Just reading your post improved my mood no end. The earth is a richer place today with the new you in it. Go out and grab it. Redditor 2, hope you get to see your child soon. Congrats. Redditor 3, during my separation and divorce 5 years ago, Philippians 4:13 was and still is my go-to verse. I too dropped weight and got fit. All through Jesus Christ. Keep walking the faith, brother. Redditor follow-up, bruh. This verse is one of my favorites since I was 5 or 6 years old. Story 2, my wife was killed in a tragic accident. Then I found out she was cheating. 2 months ago my wife of 10 years, I'm 35, she was 34, tragically passed away in a car accident, hit by a drunk driver in broad daylight. I cried non-stop for 3 days. We were planning on having kids and I had started a good paying job a year earlier, and we just purchased our first home just 2 months before her death. I just couldn't and still can't believe she is really gone from my life. It's like just yesterday everything was heading in the right direction and would soon raise a family. She seemed happy in our marriage and stated how proud of me she was. The following week after the accident I received her phone, which was locked. After a week I found out how to unlock it by an obvious code I didn't think of earlier. I simply just wanted it to keep photos in her memory, photos of us and so forth. But I saw some odd things in her photos. Included photos of her in someone else's house, a house which I had never seen before, taking provocative images. I continued scrolling down and seen the most heart-wrenching thing I ever seen. Which was her with another man. It was nothing Tango, but they were in a place that was obviously his. And just how close they were, I just knew that this was an affair. The guy who wife had an affair with showed up at her funeral. I felt like I got stabbed in the gut when I realized I seen him there. I began reading her texts and first I found out that she was on her way back from his place. 3 hours before the accident she texted him saying I'm on my way. I knew that meant he was the last one to see my wife. Not only see her but having an intimate moment with her, also she would still be here right now if she wasn't seeing him. I feel like I'm going through a death of a loved one and a breakup at the same time. She did this behind my back and will never know that I found out. In a way I feel she got to escape the heartbreak she put me through, although I fully understand death is much worse, and even knowing everything I know, I would never ever wish this or any pain upon her. I found out not only through her texts but her Facebook messages. Something that absolutely enrages me is that she told her closest friend that this guy from work wanted to take her out to dinner. Her friend encouraged her to go out with him. It enrages me cause I knew her as well and in person she was always very nice. But my wife was asking her to get confirmation, and she said no, you are married, do not go out with him. I honestly feel like she wouldn't have done it. But her best friend was like, oh, is he hot? Oh, do it. Go have fun, it's just ducking and raging. This happened 6 months ago when she asked her friend about it. A few days later she talked to her friend about how after dinner she went to his place and had time multiple times. When I read that I honestly got physically sick. I honestly started going through a breakdown, vomiting in the toilet then crying on the bathroom floor. I just can't imagine that this stuff actually happened, but it did. How could she do this? But as the days passed and the initial shock began to slow down, I started piecing things together. The funeral I noticed something a little unusual, which was this best friend of hers, talking to one of her coworkers. This was a friend from high school and there was no reason she should have known any of her coworkers. But she was in fact talking to her coworker who she had the affair with. Then she came and talked to me, gave me a hug. The guy who my wife was having an affair with, came and shook my hand. Something about that just makes me feel sick. Like I was being humiliated in a moment of grief. There was him and her best friend who knew about her affair. I couldn't help but wonder, did her coworkers also know? It's been a month and I feel no closer to breaking away from the heartbreak. I miss her. I want her to be alive. If she was, I would probably even want to fix our marriage. But she's not here anymore. I still couldn't bring myself to read all of her text messages with him. There is hundreds and some are estimably implicit. My blood boils and my heart aches when I open their texts and I get hit with anxiety and an adrenaline rush, palms get sweaty and hands shake. But I feel it's important I knew everything. It just breaks my heart this guy did things with my wife she wouldn't do for me. The thing that blows my mind the most is that there were no warning signs at all, not ducking one. Our marriage was good, she never did anything suspicious, our time life went on as normal. Just zero warning signs about it other than the fact she started wearing a little more makeup than usual. Then I blame myself for not catching on. Maybe this all could have been prevented, maybe I should have done this or that. I am broken and don't see myself ever being happy again. Edit. Thanks everyone for all the support. I honestly didn't expect so much response. Everyone who wished me well, thank you, and know that your kind words give me strength. I have got a response back from her friend, stating that she is deeply sorry for encouraging the behavior and not taking my feelings into account. She never wanted me hurt and yada yada. Honestly, I don't feel any relief from her apologies. About the phone, I cannot bring myself to destroy all the truth. I feel like I must read through the entirety of my wife's texts with this man, or I will forever go crazy wondering what did and didn't occur, how often, and maybe get some answers on if they were lovers. Was it just lust time, or what did she plan on doing? Obviously, in this state of trauma, I cannot emotionally handle reading their conversations, but I decided to keep the phone, to read it all and then toss it and move on. Also, for people telling me to PSS on her grave, or saying this is karma, please drop it and don't comment. I loved her for over a decade, and it's not going away like that. I still love this woman even with the disgusting things she has done. She was still my wife, a daughter and an aunt. She didn't deserve to get hit by some drunk driver and suffer with bleeding her brain that ultimately caused her death. Please go away, I do not need this, and I am not a sick-minded enough man to have those thoughts. For everyone else, thank you so much. Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, my God. I'm so incredibly sorry for you that I have no words. I can't even begin to imagine what you're going through. That's a lot of conflicting emotion. I know this is the standard Reddit response, but I very highly recommend seeking out therapy. You need support in this. I'm so sorry for your loss. Op answer, thanks, I have already done so and I am going to be speaking with a psychologist. Redditor 2, there have been discussions on which would be worse, partner dies versus partner cheats. This must be hell on earth. I am so sorry. Redditor follow-up, at least in the our breakup subform, a cheating and leaving partner warm changing overlapping monkey branching is compared to them dying. I have no idea what the op is going through, but that is what happened to me. Since we had no ties apart from living together even after nearly 6 years, no contact, has her memory fading. Redditor 3, is her affair partner married? When are you going to tell the friend that you found out, and that you know she encouraged her to do it? Op answer, no, he isn't married, appears that he was and is still single. I already told her. She first told me she was very sorry to hear that she did that, but that I shouldn't tarnish her reputation by telling people. I said I am only telling you because I know you encouraged her, and she hasn't replied. But it's only been a day, I'm not sure anyone would know how to respond. Update on finding out my wife, killed in a car accident, was cheating. Healing process. Hello all. I love everyone in this sub. You guys have shown me so much support regarding what I've been dealing with. I can't say anything has gotten better, especially during this epidemic where I'm stuck not working now. Just too much time. Anyway, people mentioned getting in touch with my wife's company's HR about her coworker whom she was having an affair with. He is single. I have done this and I asked about it, and they said there was no policy against coworkers getting romantically involved as long as it is off work. I kind of figured this was the case. As much as I want to get him fired and ruin his life, it was in fact consensual and their affair was off the clock, so I understand that there is nothing they can do. I didn't think there was. I sent a screenshot of the message of her friend encouraging her to her boyfriend on Facebook. He replied that he is sorry for what happened to me, but that she didn't think she would actually do it, that I shouldn't blame his GF for my wife's affair or death. So I guess it's dead end there, as I am talking to a doorknob who believes whatever his GF says. I got a ton of suggestions about posting her texts and messages to publicize what she did. I am not going to do this, and I really don't understand the point of doing it. She is gone and has no consequences left to suffer. No justice will be served. She is gone. I will only be making this more difficult for her family. Besides, it's not really anyone else's business, even if she was alive. So I decided to go through all her texts with him and her other friends. I was going to wait longer before looking, but I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't seem to move on from wondering how, where, why, and not having any answers. Her entire conversation with him was still there from their first and last texts. Little bit of good news is she expressed guilt, although not right away, about the affair, and after meeting him the second time for time she expressed guilt, and she told him that she can't continue seeing him. But of course it would continue. Their conversations would range from her being very close to him, sending heart-filled messages, to next thing totally ignoring him. but she would sometimes apologize for ignoring him, which obviously angered me. Bad news is she appears to have been much more timely exploratory with him. She also smoked weed with him, which I never seen her do. I found he had less time with her, more than once. Yet it's something she never let me do. She also had him sleep in our bed on the night I went to visit my brother. Also, she gave him head while he drove to get lunch on their lunch break. She talked about it like it was funny. This isn't something I was ready for. I began shaking and puking. It gave me a severe anxiety attack and I resorted to drinking last night, cause it was just too much. I feel like he took her from me, like he killed her because she would be alive if she didn't go to his place. I've been obsessed with the dates on their messages which they would meet. I'd go back to my social media and camera album to see what day that was. I was heartbroken when I seen they met on our anniversary where I took her to dinner to the first place we went on a date. I remembered the day as a very good night with her, very romantic, and we were both so happy and close. I felt like got hit in the gut knowing she had time with another man just hours before our date. Makes me sick and I don't see how I can get over this. My mind is still numb after what I read last night. I just can't believe that it actually happened. I honestly wish I never discovered this. I'd much rather have left her phone alone. I'd rather have remembered something I never knew, a lie compared to how I feel now. But now that I know, I need to let go of all the love I have for her. I'm mourning her death and I miss her so much, but it's time I need to realize she isn't who I thought she was. I have read everything there is to know and at least I don't think I can hurt any more than I'm hurting now. Here is to hopefully healing. I have a talk with a psychologist in about a month, but if I feel any worse I will go to the hospital because I am close to feeling suicidal. But I know it's an illogical feeling, I must go on. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, if you haven't done so already, throw the phone away, stop torturing yourself. Redditor follow-up, yes, what do they call it, shopping for pain? You've read all there is to read on it, you've seen to the bottom of the abyss, and now it's time to stop rubbing salt in your own wounds. You'll feel better when you throw the phone away. It's symbolically important as well as practically important. Redditor 2, never let it go to that. What she did was childish. Most people that do that aren't strong enough to tell the other person they don't want to be with them. Cowards in my eyes. Redditor 3, man, this is first time I read someone else's story and feel physically ill. Even close to bursts of tears. Can't even imagine how much it is a pain to you to just read messages. Don't hold grudge to anyone and good luck in recovery. Answer, that's exactly what happened when I read it. Ducking crazy. It's like I had lived it already or something. Redditor 4, a really killer thing for me is giving the AP head and and not him. They say that sometimes a spouse can't do this for husband because of embarrassment. I feel they want to please AP, that they will do anything for them, and that's a total deal breaker. Redditor follow-up, agreed. I've always believed that you should give your best to your spouse emotionally, physically, sexually, etc. She obviously gave her sexual best to her affair partner. She didn't require commitment. She didn't require her affair partner to help pay her bills. She didn't require her affair partner to make vows to her. Everything that she required of her spouse was not required of her affair partner, and yet she gave her best sexual self to her affair partner. Redditor 5, that dude decked your wife, got her killed, and is getting away with it. In my world, that guy need to get his. Whether it's holding on to the information to expose him later on or something a little more serious, I'd focus my attention on him. I know I couldn't live the rest of my life knowing he got to enjoy himself and played a part in her death, and still be around to sit at the park and enjoy a nice day while you spend the rest of your life knowing you were second best to him. Redditor follow-up, no. This is not right, being angry at him. He didn't have an obligation to he did not vow to be faithful, she did. Can't put blame on him when blame is all on her. Redditor 6, as I told you on your last post, go PSS on her grave. You'll feel better. Beyond that, it's going to take time. You will never have the answers you seek. She's not here to answer your questions. Get in the gym. Work yourself to exhaustion. Washington rinse. Repeat. Keep breathing and moving forward.